All right, good folks.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good,
Doing
not
great.
bad. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Pamela. Once again, I just wanted to appreciate you guys for being with us today and being willing to take part in this panel.
Definitely.
And also, we'll take to see you guys and hang out a little bit. So maybe we can start just briefly with you introducing yourselves. So, but a couple of quick sort of housekeeping. So, as we're in the virtual space, of course, we want to make sure that we get a chance to hear each of you guys. So if Pamela's talking, Jeannie, you got anything to add or vice versa, just give us a quick little flag or finger up or whatever makes sense to you so that we know we make sure to get to you. Otherwise, for any question that we ask, we'll always make sure to tap each of you guys, and we might get some folks joining us later on, but for right now it's us. Okay, but with that, maybe we could start by you telling me, Pamela, a little bit about yourself and your history with the Hidden Genius Project.
All right, so I'm Pamela Braxton. I had my older son Zachary in Rich 1. Gosh, how long ago was that? 5 years ago. And now I have Quincy in Rich 5. I have a bakery that's 5.5 months old in El Cerrito called Pendel's Bakehouse. Come on down. Thursday through Sunday, 8 to 3 p.m. And I'm really happy to be a part of the magic that is Hidden Genius program. It's a lovely community. It's been really amazing for Zachary, and I feel like it will be the same for Quincy.
Great, thank you. And Pamela, Jeannie, feel free to share yours. The good thing is we're dealing with two second-generation parents right now, if we like to call it.
Yeah, that's right.
In the program, so I'm gonna take that to mean like we're not doing so bad.
No, not at all.
Right.
I'm Jeannie Young, and I have two sons who are both alums at this point. My older son, Rasan, was in Oak 7, and my younger son, Ronan, just finished Oak 8. Yeah, I will echo Pamela in saying that it's just been such a wonderful community for both my kids. They're really different kids, and both came out of it so enriched with in so many different ways. It's been great.
Thank you, appreciate it. And then Dr. Michelle Jones, who doesn't like it when I use the first part, but I'm just too used to it. I'm sorry, too used to it. I'm getting better. But please, so we're just doing our introduction and sharing your experience, your genius cohort.
I'm Michelle Stevens Jones, and my son Morris was in Oak 8. This was all new. I was so looking forward to the in-person, but COVID hit, right? But I'm really so grateful that he had an opportunity to be a part of the program. I only have one son, so I'm not second generation, but first generation Hidden Genius Project, and really found the program to be quite wonderful for him. I think he learned a lot during the program. So saying the same thing that these other ladies have said, and it really is a family, even though you're in a virtual space, and even though you're not seeing one another in person, you really feel like Jamal has your back, Kayla has your back, So even though we don't get to do the, in person, we have a different virtual family.
Yeah. Well said.
We'll set up that reunion soon. But thank you guys so much for joining us, taking the time out of your days. So what I'm going to do is, and just real quick for you, Michelle, because you weren't on, I'm going to pretty much keep it at this order. You don't necessarily have to do that. So each question, Pamela, then I'll go to Jeannie, then I'll go to you. But of course, if there's anything else you want to add, or if I hadn't got to you and you want to chime in, just give me a little flag to see you, so as not to interrupt whoever's talking before, and we'll make sure that everybody's had some time, okay?
Okay.
So with that, my first question is, so when you first heard of the program and the 15-month intensive immersion programming, that commitment, 15-month commitment, what were your first thoughts? And also, as you were thinking about it, were there any other responsibilities or programs or anything else that you guys had to sacrifice to make the 15-month programming work? So I'll start with you, Pamela.
We were well, since we were the first cohort for Richmond, it was kind of like, hey, this great thing is happening. Get on it, because I think we had like 2 minutes to sign up, and it's like, oh my God, Zachary, you're not doing anything else, so we didn't have any conflicts. And he was always interested in coding, video games, all of that since he was 9. And so we're like, this is what you're going to do. And he gave a lot of pushback, but that's how we heard about it. We heard about it from his former principal, elementary school principal. And we just hopped on the opportunity because it was close to us, and just thought it would really be a great thing for him to build on his interest and also find new friends outside of his elementary school.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for summer programs for my kids one summer and stumbled across Hidden Genius on the internet. I think I was just Google searching different programs, and immediately jumped on it, got them to apply. And at 15 months, that was a big commitment, honestly. We had to forego vacations. We had to work out the conflict with basketball for my older son. But we made it work, and I'm glad I did. It was definitely, I feel like, like I said, I went into it looking for a summer program and came out of it with like a lifelong experience, that community, and it was just such a great find.
Nice.
Yeah. I found out about it at work. One of my coworkers, we were working on ACEs programs, like adverse childhood experiences. And I think I just asked her, oh, what is your son doing? And she started talking about it. And he had gone to South Africa, and she said, it's a really, really great program. And I said, oh, really? Okay. So I looked into it. And then every time she would come back to the office, we'd kind of talk about it a little bit more. And I mentioned it to my son, and he was like, Mom, what are you talking about? And he was like in, 7th grade. And I was like, well, we have to just keep this on the radar because you're going to do this. Right?
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
Smart.
So he was like, well, I don't think I'll really get in, when I applied to the program. But I said, well, let's just see, and he applied and got in, and he was just like, really? I was like, yes, really. So, yeah, just hearing great things about the program. Yep.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And even specifically in the case of Rasan, like we actually had Rasan speak at a couple of our family info sessions to actually talk about navigating the Hidden Genius project, scheduling commitment with other things, because basketball, like you mentioned, so definitely was a good example to other geniuses in terms of making that work, because it just sometimes it seems like a bridge too far, too much to fit all of that in while trying to keep the grades up at the same time. So definitely appreciate his participation as well. We also have Brandy Simpson and Brother Kyle Rhodes. So we were just doing a brief introduction. So Brandy, how about you go next? Talk about who you are and your experience with Hidden Genius Project, and then we'll tap you to go next, Kyle.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So my son was part of Oak 7. And we really didn't know anything about the program. I had heard about it from a friend, and he wasn't doing anything. And so I thought, this would be something for him to do to keep him busy. That was positive. And he didn't really want to do it in the beginning. So he kind of like, when we went to the orientation day, he really just did not do well. Like he was just being stubborn. So what we did was we made him follow Hidden Genius on social media. And so by watching the things that they did made him more interested in the program. So once we, the next year we applied, and he was very receptive to participating in the program. And once he got accepted, it was just kind of like a whole new world opened up for him. He was, um, he had a brotherhood, and, he would come home and he would talk about different things that he learned, and, some of the conversations that we didn't know how to have with him, they had with him. And so it was like, talking to him about what it's like to be, a Black man in the Bay Area or being stopped by law enforcement. And, for me, it was like, how do you have those conversations? But they started them. So when he came home, like, yeah, I got a card today where I know my rights. And I'm like, great. So let's pick up from there. And, talking to him about, how, seeing some of the stuff that went on while he was in the program, like in the media, like how that made him feel. It was, it was just really enlightening to see how much he had grown, and, the conversations and the perspective of how his thought process changed. And, I honestly, I can say I watched him go from like a teenager to a young adult during the process. And my son can be very stubborn, can be quite lazy at times. But everybody kind of just like stayed on him and cheered him on and got in his butt when he needed it. And, to be honest, I can't say enough about the program. I think it is amazing. Everyone I know who has a kid who's in that age range that's a boy, I'm like, you need to get him in this program.
Mm-hmm.
Just for us, it's like their dad was in the military, and so when we got back to the Bay Area, because we're both from Oakland, we've been living in Hayward. So most of their friends do not look like them. So for him to come home and just really embraced kids that look like him, and you meet kids from anywhere from Montclair to Sabrani, and that was just amazing to me for him to, oh yeah, my friend lives over here. Oh no, my friend such and such lives over here. Oh no, my friend this. And I'm like, I'm just glad you got friends that look like you. Because granted, your friends are your friends, but just to have somebody who can share the experiences that you may experience were really, really important to me. So, like, I am forever grateful to Hidden Genius, and anything that I can promote or support, I make sure that I do so. So, that was my experience with the Hidden Genius program. And I don't know if everybody else who's on the panel, if their kids are participants, but it's amazing to have, this group of guys that, even though my son's not in the program, he's graduated. I got a text from Denzel the other day, like, yeah, I live by San Francisco State, and I saw Kevin. And now that I know he's there, I'm going to be checking in with him. And I'm just like, that is amazing. Like, because I am one of those parents that I be super nervous and worried about stuff. So I'm like, my son lives in the dorm, and he a little naive. Like, please don't let somebody just take advantage of him. But just knowing that he still has that support is just like, I'm just forever grateful.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Brandy. And then
Yeah.
I just want to give Kyle a quick minute to do your intro, and then we'll move on to our next question. We want to leave you out. So who are you, brother? We'll call it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
All right. Welcome. I see I'm the resident dad on the panel. My son is Kamari Rhodes. He's 16. He's a junior at Oakland Tech. He's in Oakland 8 cohort. And Hidden Genius, I'll try to keep this sweet and quick, but Hidden Genius has been a blessing for my son and for myself. I believe I heard about Hidden Genius through a friend, but I'm not sure. I might have seen it on the advertisement, but I think it was through a friend. But nonetheless, however I got introduced, I'm glad I was introduced to it. I wasn't. I didn't know if my son was going to be receptive to it when we went to the orientation, um, but he was. He was willing to be committed to it. But I was concerned, and at the time because of the commitment, because he's an athlete, he loves football and basketball. But long story short, he came into a situation where he had to make a decision to go with Hidden Genius or to play football. Because while he was attending San Leandro High School at the time last year, their coaching department wasn't really receptive or not in favor of him furthering his education. So they basically told him, gave him an ultimatum: you had to choose football or Hidden Genius. And that was like a real like tough moment. So I just asked him, what do you want to do if it comes down to that? I had support from Hidden Genius that was ready to roll with me because I was like, we need to talk to these coaches because I can't believe that they're going to make you make a decision like that, especially with a young black man trying to make a decision to counteract football and education. I just couldn't believe that. But San Leandro, that's a whole nother story. So long story short, he said, well, if I have to make a decision, I'm rolling with Hidden Genius. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I was like, that let me know then. I was like, he's really committed to this. I mean, I knew he always was, but I know he loves football, but when I asked him if it comes down to it, what do you want to do? He said he's rolling with Hidden Genius. And I was like, that let me know that the impact that this program has had on my son. My son is very, very reserved. He's a loner. He's a brilliant kid. He's always been feeling like an outcast, but Hidden Genius allowed him another outlet and to meet some other brothers that like similar things that he likes, and allowed him to have mentors, so hear a different voice other than mine. Because, as a parent, sometimes, they hear that or they tune you out. So if another person that looks like me says the same thing, they might receive it. And that's exactly what happened. My son was going through some troublesome times at San Leandro High School. But given the support, I think with Hidden Genius, especially when the pandemic hit, I think that was a godsend because it allowed him to have some structure, allowed him to still be able to build community with people that look like him. And I just can't say enough. It's just really been a godsend. I mean, he's working on his project. He's still trying to complete it, but he's committed to it. He's designed a clothing brand. He wants to be an entrepreneur and have his own business in addition to him being an athlete. And as far as the support, and then I also want to mention the support from Brother Jamal. Just knowing the reassuring, because knowing that I had like a team that was ready to have my back, because then if I ever had a situation with him or his school, and if I bring it up to them, he's like, hey, we're here for you. We'll come to the meetings with you if need to. I mean, just knowing that was phenomenal, just phenomenal. And then the fact that my son opened up, during counseling and mentorship programs, that he would be open to counseling. And I was a little reserved about that because I know how the system works. I didn't want my son to get caught up and be labeled. But Jamal was able to listen, and they was able to find a counselor for my son to help support financially with it. I mean, it was just so huge, and my son was ecstatic. He has everything just got finalized. He has his first session with the counselor Saturday. So I just think this is going to be a big thing for him. I mean, Jamal, you know how my son always is real quiet and reserved, and you really have to pull teeth to get him to really speak. And but when he speaks, you really got to pay attention because he speaks slow. You got to do
I definitely want to add that.
right. You got to deep voice, and he don't say a lot, but it's poignant.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if it's because he turned 16 or because I think it's a combination of both. He just turned 16 last month. He graduated from the program just now, and he's at a new school. He's at Oakland Tech now, and my son's like, I don't have to pull nails, want to pull teeth from him anymore to speak. He speaks freely. He's feeling more confident. He told me the other day he just really likes that he's associated to have that moniker of Hidden Genius, to say, hey, I'm in the Hidden Genius program. He really likes that, and I just think that's dope. I mean, and thank you, Hidden Genius. Thank you, Jamal. And this program has been a blessing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate those kind words. And believe it or not, with our time right now, we're going to have to go ahead and head over to the main stage. But there will definitely be plenty of opportunities for us to continue this conversation. Because we definitely want you guys to be able to share more and also be able to share with some of our current, your experience. It's always so much more impactful to hear from you. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out. And with that, we'll head over to the main stage, and I'll see you over there, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, community.